Hey, today I'm going to show you my all-time favorite bread. This just came out of the oven. It's a French baguette, and this has changed my family forever. We love this bread. I learned this recipe about a year and a half ago, and since then we make it like every week. And it's easy enough that my kids can make it. There's only 5 ingredients in this bread. The thing that I love about this bread is that it's so versatile. You can have it just as a loaf that you serve your family at dinner at night, or you can do French toast, overnight French toast. You could do sandwiches with it. We like to cut it in half and make a big Subway sandwich, like a turkey, avocado, Swiss cheese sandwich. We do French dip sandwiches. The bread, it has endless amounts of potential. I will throw the ingredients in a bowl and get it mixing, and then I'll start my dinner and you have fresh bread at the end. My family, I don't know about yours, but my family loves warm bread at the dinner table. But this is something that is so simple and so easy that I want to share this with you. Another thing that I love about this bread, usually when I make this recipe, I'll double it. So I'll get 4 loaves instead of 2. And then I just wrap them up in the like saran wrap or whatever and stick them in the freezer. And then you can pull them out and just warm them up in the microwave for like 30 seconds, maybe a minute. And then you have warm, fresh bread and your family will love it. So I'm going to show you this. So there's only 5 ingredients to this bread. Flour, sugar divided, water, yeast, and salt. And that is it. The first part is a divided part. We've got 1/2 cup water, a tablespoon and a half of yeast, and I'm just gonna, and it's hot water. It's hot water out of the tap. I'm just gonna add the yeast to it, and then 1 teaspoon of sugar. And this is divided. I have another teaspoon that I'll add later, but this is just 1 teaspoon of sugar. And I'm just gonna mix this up separately, just so that I know that my yeast is good and that it's gonna start to bubble. And I'm going to set this aside while we mix the bread in my KitchenAid. You could use a Bosch, you could even do this by hand. I like to use the KitchenAid because I feel like the dough just gets really kneaded really well. When I measure, I try and make it fluffy so that it's not really heavy and condensed. You'll end up with way more flour than the recipe calls for. So I fluff up the flour, and then when I measure it, I try to not disrupt the flour that's in the cup. So anyway, 3½ cups of flour, and then I'm going to add the other remaining teaspoon of sugar, and then 2 teaspoons of salt. And this is a kosher salt. You could use table salt. You can use it whatever, but that's just a kosher salt. I'm just going to use my dough hook attachment and stick it on there and just mix up those ingredients just for a couple seconds. And you can see that my yeast is starting to fizz and bubble. I'll add my water. Oh, and this is 1 cup of water, hot from the tap. And I'm going to let this mix just for a couple seconds, just to give this a little bit more time. All right, now I'm going to add my yeast mixture. It's starting to froth, you can see that. And we're just going to go ahead and pour that in there. And that is the hardest part of this bread. You're basically done. So I'm going to let this mix for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll roll it out. Alright, so I think this dough is ready, and the way I know that it's ready is I can kind of touch it with my finger and it's still sticky, but my finger's clean. This is my baguette pan cooker thing. I just bought this off of Amazon. It was like $13 or something, but the thing that I love about this is that it has this kind of mesh looking metal that cooks the bread all the way around. So you can see with this loaf that it cooks all the way around, which I love. So we're gonna fit 2 loaves right here, and I'm just gonna spray it, just simple. You could use butter if you wanted to, or grease, but I've got a silicone mat, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pour out my dough. And again, this makes 2 loaves. So this is a pretty, it's not super sticky, which is great. And I'm just gonna divide it in half, and I'm just gonna start rolling. You don't even have to wait for it to rise. We're just gonna roll right now. And I didn't need to put any flour down on my mat because it's good enough. So I just kind of hold my pan right here and see how long it's supposed to be. And I'll do the second one. And I try and start in the middle and kind of roll out. Then I kind of just tuck the ends under if they end up a little bit pointy. It's a little bit longer. And then I like to run a knife just down the middle of it, just to give that little extra crease. And then the last thing I do, you don't have to do this every time, but this is just if you have an extra minute and you want to, I'll just baste the top of the loaves with egg white. This is just an egg white. And with this bread you could, and I've done this before, but you could do cheeses inside of your dough. You could add like an aged cheddar or a Parmesan, or I don't know, any sort of like a hard cheese. And you could even top the top of it with Parmesan cheese or an Asiago, which would be really good. I've done that before. You can dress this bread up as much or as little as you want to, and it just works every time. So I'm just gonna baste this around with this egg white. We're gonna let this rise for about 30 minutes. I'm setting a timer right now, and I'll tell you how long we end up letting it rise. In the meantime, preheat your oven to 450 degrees. We're gonna bake this in the oven with a shallow dish of water. The water's gonna create some steam in the oven that's gonna give the hard, kind of crispier outside like a baguette, and the softer bread on the inside. If you don't wanna do the water, you don't have to, but that's how we're gonna do it today. Okay, so it has only been 15 minutes and 37 seconds that we've let this dough rise, and I think it's ready. I'm just gonna go ahead and gently put my bread in.
Okay.
And I've found that 11 minutes and 30 seconds is my perfect temperature or time to cook and brown the baguette, so I'll see you in 11 minutes. So here is the finished baguette. I hope you guys like these as much as my family does, and I hope you enjoy the ease and how quick they are to make.